Welcome to Reddit Tea Time. I've been a silent reader of this sub, but today I made an account just so I can post this story and to know if I was a bonehead in the situation. My husband, 40, and I have been trying to get pregnant ever since we got married. We had no luck for 3 years of trying to conceive, so we went to a doctor and found out that one of us has a problem. Allow me to not go into detail. Because of this, we tried IVF but was unsuccessful after 3 tries. We finally got pregnant last year, but I miscarried. So we made the hard decision of giving up and accepted that we aren't meant to become parents. Last week during my birthday party, where we invited some friends and family members, my mother-in-law asked how the IVF was going, and I told her that husband and I are no longer trying. Given everything that we've been through, mother-in-law said that she understands and assured us that she supports our decision. Father-in-law also said some words of encouragement. I was relieved that everyone seemed to be supportive when my sister-in-law said something along the lines of, "I'm glad you guys finally made that decision. God chooses only those who are up to the challenge to become parents, you know." There was an awkward silence, then she continued, "You shouldn't adopt either." I should mention that sister-in-law and her partner have 3 children and she's currently pregnant with baby number 4. Her partner works part-time at a local supermarket while sister-in-law stays home with the kids. So yes, they're not in a good financial situation and have to rely on benefits to get by. I answer sister-in-law with, "Yeah, I'm sure God chooses only the right people to become parents. I wonder what the qualifications are though, because clearly financial stability isn't one of them." Another awkward silence before father-in-law changed the topic. Later that night, I got a message from sister-in-law calling me a bonehead for looking down on them because they're poor. I didn't reply but feel like a bonehead because of what I said. Edit. Thank you everyone for your replies and kind words. My husband wasn't there during the exchange as he's talking to some friends. I just relayed to him the conversation at night before going to bed. Yes, we have helped sister-in-law financially multiple times before. They don't have health insurance, so whenever they have a medical emergency, husband and I always lend a hand, especially for our nieces and nephew. And to those asking my age, I'm 36 years old. Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. It's very telling that father-in-law changed the topic. You said what everyone else was thinking, apparently. What she said was inhumanely callous. I'm so sorry. Not the bonehead. Clearly, compassion and intelligence aren't on that qualification list either. Not the bonehead. She served the crap. You just shoveled it back into her mouth. Not the bonehead. What your sister-in-law said was so vile. I'm not even a religious person, but I'm sure no God wants your sister-in-law to speak on their behalf. What she said was definitely not the words of a godly person, and you didn't deserve that kick when you were already down. I'm sorry that you have such a thoughtless in-law. Some friends and I are going out for my girlfriend's birthday next week. It was mainly a couple's event at a sushi restaurant my girlfriend loves. My friend Mike just entered into a relationship and I asked him to bring his girlfriend. He gets back to me a few days later explaining that his new girlfriend doesn't like sushi, but she'd be happy about eating anywhere else. I said that's fine, don't come. Mike said he would talk to her again, but I explained to Mike him and her are no longer invited since you already tried to change the restaurant just because your new girlfriend doesn't like it. He tries arguing with me that he wants to come because it's the first time she's been invited to the friend group. I repeated that they are no longer invited because it's my girlfriend's birthday and I don't want any drama. Mike tried to say there wouldn't be, but I told him his new girlfriend was already acting like a diva at someone else's party, so that's why she's not going. He tried saying she just didn't like sushi, and I said that's okay. You don't have to take her to a sushi restaurant for her birthday, but we're still going for my girlfriend's birthday and you guys are no longer invited. Mike called me a jerk and told the other couples who were going about how disrespectful I'm being to his girlfriend over this, and he just wanted her to feel comfortable with everyone. Now for some comments. You're the bonehead. What a bizarre overreaction. The only cause of drama is you. It sounds like they just weren't sure if you were all that attached to the specific restaurant, so thought it would be worth saying that she'll come if it happens to be at a different place. It's not like he pushed back at all when you declined to change it, so uninviting them both completely was totally unnecessary. And very rude of you to call his girlfriend a diva when you haven't even met her. For all you know, she didn't suggest changing the restaurant at all, and that was all Mike's idea. You're the epitome of a person who hates drama, yet somehow is constantly creating it. You're the bonehead. Removing the invitation sounds like an overreaction. You could have just said that the invitation was for sushi and that wouldn't change, but instead you escalated. This is a really weird situation caused not by Mike's question, but by your extreme and rigid overreaction to it. You jumped to the strangest, most unwarranted reaction possible. I wonder if there's something causing you to behave like this? It's not other people, it's definitely you. At some point, you may find yourself losing friends if you don't do some serious self-analysis and change how you perceive and react to others. Strong, you're the bonehead. You're the bonehead. You seem a little unhinged, actually. He was just checking and you completely overreacted. Are you okay, bro? Everyone sucks here. Yes, she was the bonehead for even suggesting they change restaurants for her when it's your girlfriend's birthday. Mike was the bonehead for thinking this was something that he should even mention to you. But you're the bonehead because, my God, dude, you're like, I don't like drama, and then go from 0 to 100. You immediately disinvited them? You could have at least let Mike talk to her. It seems like it's still early and he doesn't know when to say no to her yet. Like, could you have made a worst possible first impression on her? Again, you ain't wrong for standing firm on the restaurant, but you can still be right and be a colossal bonehead. I, female 19, and my stepmother, female 51, don't get along. She and my dad, male 53, got married 2 years ago, and she disliked me as soon as we met because I had my girlfriend over. As soon as I introduced myself and my girlfriend, stepmother turned to my dad and whispered, not very quietly, "You didn't mention this about your daughter?" She was never directly homophobic to me, but I heard her and my dad argue some about it until she eventually dropped the subject. I assume because she didn't want to ruin their relationship. I graduated in 2022 and have been at uni in another state. While I was there, I met my current girlfriend, female 20. We've been together for 9 months and I'm truly in love with her. She comes from a deaf family and is deaf herself, so I started learning ASL. I'm now conversant. I can easily understand signing and be understood. Last week, girlfriend came to stay with me and meet my family. She had met my dad over the phone and he loved her already, but I was worried about stepmother because of her past bigoted tendencies. As soon as they were introduced, stepmother ignored my request that she speak slower so girlfriend can read her lips and acted like she wasn't there even though she knows girlfriend is deaf. I tried to interpret, but I could tell girlfriend was uncomfortable. It was just the two of us for most of her visit, but we had a family dinner planned, which is when things went crazy. We decided I would be her interpreter. Girlfriend was uncomfortable with her deaf accent. I let the family know in advance and it was fine until we all sat down to eat. I signed when anyone was speaking and I voiced anything girlfriend signed. Then when stepmother was saying something, she abruptly stopped mid-sentence, looked at me and snapped, "Stop flailing your hands around while I'm talking. It's incredibly distracting." I stayed calm as I responded, "I'm signing so my girlfriend can understand you. You know that." She didn't argue, but kept glaring at me after. Later, dad was making dessert and stepmother said, "Your relationship doesn't seem healthy. You learned a whole language for her and she can't even bother to speak." I didn't answer and told her to stop being rude. We were eating dessert when dad asked girlfriend something, and while she was signing, stepmother interrupted, saying, "Would you use your words? You're not a child and you should know how to speak for yourself." I didn't sign it, but girlfriend read her lips and left the table crying. I blew up at stepmother and yelled, "God, if I knew you were going to be such an ableist witch to the woman I love, I never would have brought her here. I can't believe my dad ever married you. You're a sorry excuse for a woman. I hope he divorces you." She was crying and started to yell back, but my dad calmed her down before glaring at me and saying, "I can't believe you just spoke to her that way. Apologize now." I just scoffed and left the table in anger before going to my room to find girlfriend. I've been getting the cold shoulder from stepmother since then, and while my dad agrees that her actions weren't acceptable, he thinks it was a complete bonehead move to say what I did. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. I'm sorry to hear this. Your poor girlfriend. Your dad is insane to be with someone so hateful. OP replied, "He's a great man. I've talked to him about it multiple times, and every time he talks about her, it's with complete rose-colored glasses. It's like she's a completely different person when she's with him, and she's only ever had moments like this a few times." Not the bonehead. Your stepmother is bigoted, and your father is enabling her bigotry. If anyone owes any apologies, it's your stepmother to your girlfriend. Not the bonehead, you were right. Rude, trash bonehead people like your stepmother get away with their shocking behavior because they never get challenged. Your dad might deny it and defend her though. It seems to be how it goes. So sidestep any argument with him without apologizing to her. OP replied, he actually has apologized to me for not speaking up. Stepmother has never been this outwardly rude before, and anytime she's even hinted at something homophobic towards me, he immediately shut her down. He told me he just kind of felt at a loss about what to do because he didn't want to overstep his bounds when he doesn't know much about the deaf community. He still believes I could have handled the situation more calmly, but he understands that I'm upset with him and very upset with stepmother, and he's giving me and girlfriend space. My husband and I, both late 50s, have 3 lovely children. James, 34, Maggie, 33, and June, 32. My husband is a lawyer and I've been a paralegal since my last child graduated, so we make a good living. James is also a lawyer, same firm as his dad, and Maggie is now in law school after being a part-time paralegal while her 2 kids were young. Her husband is in engineering and does quite well. I'm not trying to brag, but we all do quite well and it's relevant to this posting. June is an elementary school teacher and her husband manages a restaurant. They're both very hard workers and I'm proud of June for doing well at a very hard and vastly underpaid job. However, she's always jealous and complaining about how hard she has it. She's complained we have a cabin in the UP, Michigan, and she's got a starter home that we gave her money for. She's complained about her sister having nice clothes, her brother's house in the lake, her husband having loans for his masters, us having nice cars, you name it. She constantly complains. Every damn time she comes over, she says things like, must be nice to go on vacation, must be nice to get new furniture, etc. Last night she started again, complaining that she can't afford to go to the UP house and it must be nice to be able to afford gas and still be able to wear fancy clothes. I snapped. I told her her constant complaining was getting old. We gave her the same help with her college and grad school as her siblings, and she knew when she chose her career what the salary was. I told her I'm very proud, but she knew what she was getting into, and this attitude makes her family not want her around. She was furious and left, screaming that her siblings are golden children and that she was just as good. I tried to tell her that wasn't true, but she wouldn't let me get a word in. She won't talk to me, but she called her sister, who was quite put out by the whole thing, but on my side. My husband, however, said I should have just let it go, and my mother is very upset and is acting like I did something terrible. So am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. Not the bonehead. Why should everyone feel guilty for having a disposable income? June could still choose a different career. My brother-in-law was a teacher and I hated it. Now he tutors kids in high school math. He works a couple of hours a day and makes more than he made teaching. He picked up a job lifeguarding in the summers when the kids aren't in school and he just stayed on. So now he has a full-time job with the city with great benefits and he works as a tutor at night. So now he's doing pretty well financially and is pretty happy. Point is, June can probably figure out a way to make more money. I hope she doesn't have kids if she's already bitter about money. Why did her hubby need a master's degree to manage a restaurant? Anyway, June's incessant complaining is annoying. P.S. Whenever anyone says, must be nice, the best possible response is, yes it is. It really, really is. OP replied, he has a Master of Fine Arts degree. He would like to become a writer. Not gonna lie, as a teacher myself, that title got me heated from the jump, but I think I have to say not the bonehead. I understand why you snapped. I've been around people who are always making comments like that, and it's so draining. It starts to feel like you can't tell those people anything because everything is a misery competition. If she's always being negative, that can be hard to constantly walk around and ignore. But also, I see where she's coming from. It sounds like maybe she has some insecurities about choosing another path as compared to her siblings, as the golden children comment might imply. I'm sure she loves teaching, but maybe she wasn't ready for feeling so different from the rest of her family. Maybe she feels insecure or out of place. I think you guys could benefit from a good heart-to-heart about the situation. You can explain where you're coming from and she can explain her experiences and maybe give some insight into why she's been acting like that. I don't know how she feels, but maybe there's a bit of shame attached to not having as much. Maybe those comments were her searching for validation that she's doing great as she is and she doesn't need to be at the same financial level as the rest of you because you're more than proud of her as she is. I hope you guys can see eye to eye soon. Teaching can take a lot out of you, and it can be discouraging to not see much come out of it financially, especially if your family is doing well off comparatively. Mom bragged up the other 2 children before telling us about June. Then she said she's proud of her as an aside. I suspect that the problem is rooted in the 2 other children being lauded for their high incomes and careers that the parents perceive as being superior. It's also likely that Dad, being a lawyer, gave both a leg up in their fields. Plus, it's the family business. Mom, Dad, and 2 kids in the same field, but June is the odd one out, plus not in a high-paying career. So the golden children, not good enough child dynamic is probably very apparent to June. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you like these stories, please consider subscribing. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.